In Nigeria today, ministerial responsibility is a fundamental constitutional principle which ensures the accountability of the government to the legislature and ultimately to Nigerians. So, the ministers through their ministries have a collective responsibility to develop, initiate, implement workable, people-oriented policies that will drive national development. What's their scorecard this week? We will tell you on the Minister's Platform in a minute. Welcome. Ministry News brings you latest comprehensive news report across federal ministries, agencies, and parastatals. Let's keep you posted. The Minister of Defense, Major General Bashiru Salihi Magashi, has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment towards the promotion of global peace and regional stability by remaining active in peace support operation as at when due. The minister stated this when the United Nations Under-Secretary for Peace Operations, Mr. Jean-Pierre Lacroix, paid a walking visit to Ship House, Gariki, Abuja. The minister pointed out that the service charter of the ministry towards providing administrative and support services is routinely timely and effective so that the armed forces will be modern, compact, strong, professional, mission capable, and mission ready for the defense, which is in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, while also contributing to peacemaking and peacekeeping mission worldwide. Earlier, the United Nations Under-Secretary General for Peace Operations expressed appreciation to the minister for the cooperation and unwavering support to the activities of the United Nations. The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, has disclosed that the federal government will not allow any social media platform to plunge the country into crisis, as it has no intention of banning any social media platform again, but stressed that it will also not sit by and allow any platform whatsoever to throw the nation into crisis. The minister, who spoke at the third edition of the President Muhammadu Buhari Administration Scorecard 2015-2023 program organized by the ministry, said the warning to the social media platforms became imperative because of the spike in fake news and disinformation following the change in ownership of a micro-blogging site, Twitter. The federal government has announced that the Abuja-Kaduna train services will resume operations in November this year and assure that necessary safety and security measures have been put in place to secure the lives of citizens. The Minister of Transportation, Engineer Muazu Sambo, disclosed this at the second edition of the President Muhammadu Buhari Administration Scorecard Series, organized by the Ministry of Information and Culture in Abuja.
This month of November, we shall resume that service.
Ministry, in its versatile and intermodal mandate, has taken charge of the safety and security of the nation's railway corridors in collaboration with a wide range of stakeholders. The three modes of transportation have been road, air, and rail. In fact, rail only came to life under this administration.
Undoubtedly, the Minister of State for Transportation, Ademola Adegoroye, has disclosed that road projects in the southwest geopolitical zone will be completed. The Minister of State noted this when a delegation of the Ondo State House of Assembly, led by its Speaker, Bamidele Oleyalogun, paid him a courtesy visit in his office in Abuja with respect to the Akure-Ado-Ekiti Road. Adegoroye informed the delegation that the Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, who has taken the road, has a priority for the government took the step to look into the contract awarded in 2020 due to the challenges being faced by the contractor in executing the project. The Honorable Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, has restated that the goals of the Nigerian education system by the federal government is to build a free and democratic society, a just and egalitarian society, a united, strong and self-reliant nation, as well as a great and dynamic economy. The minister who stated this in Abuja also noted that the federal government is working hard towards achieving the 2030 education agenda. On ASU perennial strike, Adamu stated that the challenges facing the tertiary education delivery in Nigeria were far from being addressed. He further disclosed that the current administration granted scholarship to over 326 Nigerian scholars in foreign and Nigerian tertiary institutions between 2019 and 2022. The Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the WHO Africa Infodemic Response Alliance (AIRA), has trained Nigerian media and health professionals on content development in infodemic management. According to World Health Organization, infodemic is too much information, including false or misleading information, in digital and physical environments during a disease outbreak. Funded by Gates Foundation in Abuja, the training was aimed at building the capacity of stakeholders in content development for infodemic management in Nigeria, using the co-design approach, human-centered design thinking, and other innovative approaches. The federal government has assured the African Union AU of Nigeria's readiness to partner with it in achieving the free movement of persons within the ECOWAS countries. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, gave the assurance when he hosted an AU delegation in the ministry on Wednesday in Abuja. Aregbesola assured the delegation of the federal government's commitment to the partnership aimed at the realization of the ECOWAS protocol of free movement of persons, goods and services across the sub-region. The minister, however, said insurgencies and other conflicts which posed a major threat to the protocol, especially in countries within the Sahel region, discouraged Nigeria from rectifying the protocol. As the 2022 United Nations Climate Change Conference COP27 opens in Egypt, the federal government, represented by the Ministers of Environment, Power and Trade, has recommended a white paper titled Trade, Energy and Climate Change: Harmonizing Nigerian and Global Concerns on Climate. Led by PUTTRU, the white paper is a collaborative effort with the Federal Ministry of Environment, Federal Ministry of Power, Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Energy Commission of Nigeria, and the Office of the Deputy President of the Senate. The objective of the white paper is to inform the international community and Nigeria's trade partners on how the country's national concerns on trade, energy and climate change can be harmonized with global concerns in a manner that ensures that Nigeria's interests are seen as global interests. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, has disclosed that the choice of Ethiopian Airline as the preferred bidder for the national carrier Nigeria Air by the federal government is because the Ethiopian Airline was the only airline that responded to its requests for expression of interest and fulfilled all the stipulated conditions laid down in Nigeria. Sirika, who disclosed this while presenting the scorecard of the ministry in Abuja on Thursday, said other airlines in the world ignored Nigeria's call to float a national carrier. He, however, said the proposed Nigeria Air will commence operation as planned.
Maybe by way of interest, some of them that appeared in the bidding process had attempted to drop in their proposals, but they were out of time. We didn't accept their bids because we have been singing this for 5-6 years. So if you are a serious-minded person and you are really in the business, we think that you should also be within time.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umaru Farouk, has announced measures being put in place to solve extreme climate change outcomes in Nigeria. She noted that the ministry will work with the Nigerian Adaptation Plan, which seeks to reduce vulnerability of communities to the impacts of climate change by building adaptive capacity and resilience. The plan also advocates the integration of climate change adaptation into relevant new and existing policies, programs and activities, as well as in development planning processes and strategies. The Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Dingyadi, on Tuesday disclosed that the proposed 871 billion naira in the 2023 budget estimate is inadequate for the Federal Ministry of Police Affairs and its agencies towards ensuring adequate security of lives and property across the country. The minister made the observation during the joint budget defense held by the Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Police, co-chaired by Senator Haliru Jika and Honorable Bello Kumo. According to him, despite the outcry over the budget reallocation in 2022 Appropriation Act, there is no significant improvement in the 2023 budget estimates computed by the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning.
Summary of the 2023 appropriation as table 3. The main ministry has total budget of 3,553,059,805 naira. The formations and commands, that is for Nigerian Police Force, they are having 805,580,450,659 naira.
And finally, from Ministry News, Kebbi State Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu has received a touch of unity from the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development ahead of the 21st National Sports Festival in Asaba, Delta State. The touch of unity was handed over to Bagudu by the Zonal Coordinator of the Ministry, Northwest, Mohammed Kabiru Dati, at Government House, Benin Kebbi. While addressing the delegates, Bagudu urged Nigerian youths to put more effort into their endeavors for the nation to have more of Ronaldos and many successful footballers as well as athletes in Nigeria. The business of governance at the level of the presidency is a major determinant factor for national development. So, what's new from the presidency? Let's find out. President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated rural electrification projects in Kogi East and West senatorial districts of the state. Represented by the FCT Minister of State, Dr. Ramatu Aliyu, observed that with the provision of affordable electricity access, it was expected that the standard of living of the rural populace will be improved through quality health care service. The rural electrification projects sited in Emekutu, Ikebe and Ojagbo communities in Kogi East, just as Ayetoro, Bede, Isanlu, Anguan, Kura, Araromi and Olujumo are the benefiting communities in Kogi West senatorial district of the state. President Muhammadu Buhari has said he's not interested in having assets all over the place. The Nigerian president stated this in an interview in the United Kingdom after meeting with His Royal Majesty King Charles III in Buckingham Palace on Wednesday. On his meeting with the British monarch, the president said King Charles III spoke highly of Nigeria, noting that he expects the relationship between Nigeria and the UK to continue and, if possible, improve. The president further noted that the meeting with King Charles III is meant to foster Nigeria's bilateral relationship with the UK.
Nigeria's relationship with Britain for all long and our economic strengths, I think we are still of great attachment to them. And he really speaks very well of Nigeria, and he showed the interest that he wants the relationship to continue. And he asked me whether I have a house here. I say no. I have, even in Nigeria, though, the only house I have are those I had before I got into government. I'm not very much interested in having assets all over the place. I feel much more freer when I have nothing.
President Muhammadu Buhari has declared that his government will not go back on the planned redesign of 1,000 naira, 500 and 200 naira notes by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The president, who spoke in London, the United Kingdom, on Wednesday evening after meeting with King Charles III, said the policy announced by the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, on October 26, 2022 has come to stay. The president said enough time has been given by the CBN for Nigerians to deposit the present naira notes at banks in exchange for the newly redesigned ones, which will be issued by December 15, 2022. President Muhammadu Buhari has hit Western countries for majority of the effects of climate change in Africa, even as he blames them for failing to take responsibility for the climate disasters in the continent. In an opinion authored by the president and published on Washington Post, he recalled that in 2009, developed countries most responsible for global warming pledged to give $100 billion annually by 2020 to help developing nations deal with its consequences. But the commitment has not been met, generating mistrust and reluctance among some developing nations to accelerate their emissions reductions. He described their inability to meet up the commitment as hypocritical, as most of the emissions come from their industries situated in Africa. And finally, from the presidency, President Muhammadu Buhari has declared that the All Progressive Congress APC will win the 2023 presidential election, stating that APC was lucky to have Tinubu as its presidential candidate. The president spoke in the United Kingdom while reacting to the chances of APC winning the presidential election in 2023. He said the standard bearer is running on record as a two-term governor between 1999 and 2007, whose achievements are verifiable. The president, however, restated his resolve to conduct a free and fair election come 2023.
What are the chances of my party not winning the election? We are going to win this election. Tinubu, the presidential candidate, is a very well-known politician in the country. He was a two-times governor in his state, Lagos. Resource-wise, the most resourceful state and the most visited state. So I think the party was lucky to get him, except, to be its candidate.
A country's military might depends largely on the capacity, capabilities, and strength of its armed forces to ensure the effective protection of its territorial integrity and security. What's the story of the Nigerian Armed Forces? Let's talk with the Honorable Minister of Defense. So, Honorable Minister, what initiatives and efforts have the Defense Ministry made under your leadership to enhance the capability and sophistication of Nigeria's defense industries in order to reduce the country's dependence on foreign sources of supply?
Several new strides have been achieved in the area of production under this administration. The Defense Industrial Corporation of Nigeria, DICON, has attained a new level of production capabilities with the production of Izegu APCs, which was the first indigenous combat vehicles designed and built by DICON. These platforms are being used in the Northeast, that is the theater of operation. And DICON has also recently established a military and paramilitary clothing and accessories, which is a factory in Kaduna, which has the potential of creating about 1,000 jobs to Nigerians. Apart from the new development in DICON, the individual services have been involved in research, design, and manufacturing at their various levels. Like Nigerian Navy Dockyard Lagos has been involved in design and construction of seaward defense boats and house boats. In December 2021, the third seaward defense boat was commissioned into the Nigerian Navy. Also, the Nigerian Air Force, through Air Force Research and Development Center and the Air Force Institute of Technology, has evolved in the modification of several aircraft parts as well as research into an armed aerial vehicles. The ministry is very conscious of the need to be more indigenous in the defense production, such as most of the defense contract is about technological transfer and partnership with our own defense industries. All of these are geared toward reducing the country's dependence on foreign equipment and plan for self-sufficiency in the nearest future.
The Nigerian Armed Forces recently celebrated the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, and this is actually to honor our fallen heroes. As a ministry, what is the long-term welfare package for families of the officers and men who died in active service?
Let me start by conveying my deepest sense of honor and respect to our fallen heroes who departed in the line of duty, defending our nation and maintaining peace and unity of the country. It is our duty to therefore remember and honor our fallen heroes who have paid the supreme price in the defense of our country. This is particularly important considering that these heroes left behind families and loved ones who will always cherish them. Therefore, the welfare of these families will always be central to the remembrance of these fallen heroes. It is important to note that every service personnel in the armed forces is insured with a group life insurance scheme. The scheme ensures that families of the deceased are adequately paid compensation in line with the extant provisions. More so, the families are paid all other entitlements of the deceased as well as scholarships scheme for deceased children through school fees in addition to the burial expenses borne by the government in service.
Honorable Minister, in pursuit of peace and stability in the world through the United Nations, the African Union, and ECOWAS, what significant role has the Nigerian Armed Forces played to remain strategically relevant?
Nigeria has been a member of ECOWAS, African Union, member of United Nations, and has participated in many peace operations at all levels. Nigeria has contributed many military contingents, military observers, military staff officers, formed police units and police advisors, as well as civilian experts to more than 40 United Nations, OAU, which is now AU, and ECOWAS missions. Presently, Nigeria has deployment in Mali, Guinea-Bissau, as well as military observers and staff officers. Nigeria also intends to fulfill its commitment to the operationalization of Africa's standby force through the leadership role in the regions of ECOWAS standby force. Until recently, Nigeria was the fifth largest troops contributor to United Nations, but we have to draw down to meet the higher demands for troops in the ongoing internal security operation, particularly in the Northeast. The insecurity caused by Boko Haram insurgency in the northeastern Nigeria and the contiguous countries in the Lake Chad led to the establishment of multinational joint task force comprising of troops from Nigeria, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, Benin Republic. Nigeria intends to uphold her foreign policy objectives in promoting international cooperation for consolidation of universal peace.
A major security threat to defense efforts to any country is the existence of fifth columnists. Let us share the experience of the Nigerian army in tackling this dangerous menace.
As you have rightly pointed out, having traitors and disloyal elements in the system is a global phenomenon and is not only applicable to the military. One of the ways the Nigerian Armed Forces tackles the menace is by ensuring that only loyal and upright citizens of Nigeria are employed into the armed forces right from the beginning. The recruitment process into the armed forces is subjected to proper background checks and vetting. This is applicable for officers, cadets, and soldiers recruitment. There is also routine rotation of troops from any particular operational location, and this prevents troops becoming too familiar with subversive elements in their places of assignment. The military also has its intelligence mechanism to ensure that troops remain loyal, and those who allow themselves to be recruited as fifth columnists are fished out quickly.
You have received the Implementation Advisory Reform Committee report for the Ministry of Defense and the Armed Forces of Nigeria. How well have you digested and implemented the recommendations, and of what impact has it been, really?
Some of the significant recommendations made by the committee is the conduct of annual operational capability audit to the armed forces to enhance fighting capability of the armed forces. The adoption of integrated logistics support system also to minimize wastage in the procurement process, and the comprehensive security sector reform to address the deficiencies inherent in our paramilitary agencies, among others. We have looked also into the report and already set up a mechanism that has started the implementation of the recommendations.
What are the human capacity development strategy of the ministry adopted to build a dynamic armed forces in Nigeria?
Honestly, human capacity is key to success of any institutions. We have had to critically assess the capability of the armed forces in comparison with the current security challenges and the likely future threats. Consequently, we have had to acquire several military equipments and made some doctrinal upgrades. All these have been complemented by a series of professional military training for members of the armed forces in training institutions, both Nigeria and abroad. We have also worked with our partners to upgrade our military training schools in order to better build capacity here in Nigeria.
On a final note, Honorable Minister, what are the future proactive plans, projections of the Ministry of Defense to sustain and maintain the internal and external territorial protection of Nigeria?
We are committed to sustaining our current efforts and working with our partners in the region and abroad to strengthen the capacity and capability of our armed forces. We are exploring various options to boost our indigenous military industrial capability, and we have signed many memorandums of understanding with several countries with a view to actualizing these plans. Our desire, therefore, is to build an armed forces that will be upright to all Nigerians and Africans. We are making progress, and we are pleased to see that our armed forces is on upward trajectory. On behalf of the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, the Ministry of Defense is making pragmatic and proactive efforts to end terrorism, insurgency, banditry, kidnappings, and all forms of insecurity in our great country. It is our resolve to make Nigeria safe, and secured for the benefit of all. We enjoy all Nigerians to believe and have faith in this government. God bless Nigeria.
Major General Bashiru Salihi Magashi, retired Honorable Minister of Defense, has been our guest on the Minister's platform. This is one strategic ministry that has made a lot of giant strides in trying to ensure national security in the country. It's been quite interesting, sir, speaking with you. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
And that's it. The Minister's platform will continue in a moment. We'll be right back. On our ministry, agencies, and parastatals in focus segment this week, let's bring you facts you need to know about the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC. The Nigerian Export Council, NEPC, was established through the promulgation of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council Decree number 26 of 1976, now an act in line with the democratic governance of the country. The Council is the federal government of Nigeria apex agency under the Ministry of Trade and Investment, saddled with the responsibility of promotion, development, and diversification of exports. NEPC has over the years worked to achieve its mandate by coordinating and harmonizing export development and promotion activities in the country, taking the lead in all national export programs, interfacing with international trade agencies on cooperation and capacity building. NEPC's Executive Director, CEO, leads a senior management team of directors and heads of departments. Together, they provide strategic programs and operational direction to a staff strength of about 580 people, with its head office in Abuja. The NEPC ensures national coverage by operating via one regional office in each of the geopolitical zones. These regional offices supervise export assistance centers and smart offices in 26 states of the Federation. The NEPC vision is to make the world a market for Nigerian non-oil products, and its mission is to spearhead the diversification of the Nigerian economy by expanding and increasing non-oil exports for sustainable and inclusive economic growth. The NEPC strategy is to diversify the productive base of the Nigerian economy away from oil and foster market-oriented private sector-driven economy through market-oriented export products development. Some of the major functions of the council include to collect and disseminate to local manufacturers and exporters information on foreign markets, to organize and plan the participation of Nigeria in trade fairs and exhibitions, to pursue the simplification and streamlining of export procedures and documentation on a continuous basis. The council also promotes the development and diversification of Nigeria's export trade, equally assists in promoting the development of export-related industries in Nigeria, and spearheading the creation of appropriate export incentives, and to equally actively articulate and promote the implementation of export policies and programs of the Nigerian government. The Nigerian Export Commission Promotion Council, NEPC, is currently under the able leadership of the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Olusegun Awolowo.
The fact that there are no strict laws that governs or guides tenants
for like 2 years now, and I have not seen one person ask me to pay 1 year.
Yeah, I like this city because of the opportunity, job opportunities. That's why I like the city. And secondly, it's a peaceful city as well.
This is where the center where you have investment and people can buy and sell or do their investment. But if you go to some other states,
We are no longer integrating anything. We are just putting the lives of our youths in jeopardy. We are messing them up. Some lose their life in the bid of going to serve their fatherland. And which fatherland are we talking about? No fatherland anywhere. It should be scrapped.
Some people won't even think of going to any other place if not NYC. What we should do is look at the things that are making it not to work. In Nigeria, we have good ideas, but the implementation is bad. Go back to the drawing board and fine-tune it. This should not be scrapped. They should modify it and make it better.
NYC has actually really changed a lot of people's lives, to be honest. The process should not necessarily be scrapped. However, the lives of every youth corper needs to be taken seriously. Their welfare, their well-being, their security, very, very important.
I don't think it should be scrapped because it brings unity among people. It's a good idea. I don't think it should be scrapped.
The Minister's Platform every week endeavors to x-ray and disseminate the effectiveness, efficiency, and performance of federal ministries to you to make informed judgment. Because it's your right to know, join us again on TV Nigeria for another interesting package. Thanks for watching.